Greetings, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Dreamscapes. Today we have our friend, I'm going to try this, Coach Lorianne de Julio Castillo. Did I do it right?
Really close. That was good.
Dang, I did my best. Hey, if it was close, we're going to call horseshoes and hand grenades. Because she's out of Long Island, New York. We're going to get right back to her in 2 seconds. For my part, would you kindly like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Always need more volunteer dreamers. As you can see, last week, no episode. No, couldn't make it work. So be it. Dreams come in their own time. It's nobody's fault. Also, 16 currently available works of historical dream literature. The most recent, book 16, Dreams and Their Meanings by Horace G. Hutchinson, edited, reproduced, enhanced, if I may say so, by yours truly, your friendly neighborhood dream wizard, now available. All this and more at benjaminthedreamwizard.com. And of course, links in the description below. And we're going to get back to our friend, Coach Lorianne. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, Benjamin.
Very cool. So we were talking a little bit. I didn't give your Mother of Dragons titles at all. And that's usually what I do. I was so focused on trying to get the name right. It went right out of my head. So Lorianne is a success coach, strategist, a radio show host of a Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne, and best-selling author. You got a book, Women Who Dream. And we were talking a little bit about the, show off the book. Definitely.
Shameless plugs.
Ta-da! Yeah, hold it up. Where? There you go. Now that might actually be the screen grab I get for the episode episode title. Anyway, because I just do a screen grab and then put the, there you go.
I'm having it up. What do you think? Shameless plug?
No, it's perfectly. Please be shameless. I'm, people accuse you of being a sellout. I am looking to sell out. Hey, Folgers, I drink your coffee every day. You want to sponsor me? I will tell everyone that, no problem there. I'm not going to sacrifice morals, but God, I'll get paid. I'll get paid to shill. Why not? It's a job. I'm trying to shill myself as much as possible, as you are too. I'm like, hey, I wrote a book. It's out there. Please buy it. You got to tell people.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's also because it will help them. So it has information. I don't want to do anything that's not going to add and contribute something positive to the world.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't just write a book to write a book. Some people do. I didn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be involved in something like that. So yeah, you're going to find some yummy, beautiful things that are just going to resonate with you. There are 29 other authors in this book as well as mine. And my chapter's called Two Choices, and we can talk about that later. But yeah, it's real important to put good content out there because there's so much not good content. So as long as our names are involved in it, we should really make sure that it reflects us properly.
I think so too. And it's like you got to bring yourself to the work. I think that's it's critical. I'd say critically successful in being a coach or a therapist or a dream wizard, whatever you're doing is you got to be genuine with that. And that definitely involves like, I don't know. Okay. So there's a lot of complicated stuff that goes around this. And I've talked to other people in the past of like, they've encouraged me to get over the idea of promoting myself. A lot of us have, say, imposter syndrome, or we have the idea that, what I did, I'm proud of it, but I don't want to bother people by hassling them or pushing them.
Well,
right? Yeah.
Let me change your lens on the bothering people, right? So it's not bothering people. You have a superpower that you came down here to share with other people. We're here for two reasons. We're here to learn something for ourselves, and we're here to serve other people. Our superpowers are explicitly there to serve other people. I'm a singer. My mom used to say, if you don't sing, you're not sharing your gifts. You're not sharing your gifts. You're being very self-centered, and that's not fair. So if you have ideas, if you have dreams, if you have desires, and you want to share them and help encourage maybe one other soul, you've done your job. So don't be disrespectful to other people and yourself by not sharing it and putting it out there. It's not selling. It's not shilling. It's not doing anything like that. It's doing exactly what we're meant to do, is to help one another. So you ever hear when somebody asks a question in a big group and it's like, thank God you asked that question, but you help, hello, kitty. You help so many other people who may not have the courage to ask the question, but they get the answer too. So everything that we do is really, as long as it's with the proper intention behind it, it's going to help somebody along the way. Even a mere smile, eye connection, and opening a door could change someone's choice that day. It could make someone save their life.
I think it definitely can. Those are those little, I'm finding more and more synchronicities lately. It's weird things that I can't explain. Why is that related thing happening at exactly the right time in the right place with the right person? What is going on here? It's a very visceral sense of the mystical in some ways that I didn't used to. I mean, I guess I've always have a fascination with that, but lately it starts to seem more consistent. And it's not the right word, more ubiquitous. It's like it's more everywhere. Now, everywhere I look, I'm seeing all these weird coincidences. Go ahead.
That's you. There's no such thing as weird coincidences. What it is you're in sync with who you're supposed to be. And those are winks and nods and whispers from universe, God, source, however you refer to your higher power. That's what's happening. It's saying, yes, confirmation. Yes, let me reward you. Yes, it's easy. So here's the real like secret to life. Life doesn't have to be difficult. It's not supposed to be hard. It's not supposed to be work. It's supposed to flow. But what we do is we clamp down on it and we stop the flow. It's like putting a dam in a river. It's going to stop the water from flowing, and we do that to ourselves. And we do that with all kinds of pressures we and our society puts on ourselves, and then we're not genuine to ourselves because we're trying to make everybody else happy. And when that happens, you're going to notice you're not happy here. So if you're not in the good, yummy, happy feelings and you're down here in the cranky feelings, you're not being genuinely who you're supposed to be, and you're offline. You're called, what we refer to in my business is, you're not in alignment with who you're supposed to be. So when you're seeing all of these synchronicities, it's universe saying, God, source, however you refer to your higher power, saying, yes, this is where you're supposed to be. Yes, keep going along that path. It is absolutely confirmation. And the opposite happens too when you're not on your path.
It's all right. This gal, she's so cute. she just, I don't know if you just heard her get on the microphone there. You're going to have to go. Adorable. So a little secret for the fans out there that may not know, if you have a beautiful, lovely, adorable cat that just wants love at the wrong time, there's a little can of compressed air. They just go away. They don't like it. I'm sorry, baby girl. It's not time. No, but okay, so I haven't lost my train of thought completely. That often happens. Part of my superpower is being a complete scatterbrain makes me better with dream associations. Makes it hard to stay on topic. But
no, and you're jumping to the track that you need to jump to. It's all good.
Yes, bringing us back around to kind of the original topic of the self-promotion ideas. As long as you are ethically aligned with who you are and what you believe, and you're trying to give a product of value, you all got to make a living. I can't give the books away. I put a lot of work into them, and they're also designed to sustain my livelihood so that I can continue to do what I'm doing. So I've had to, over the years, come to that a better place of comfort with the self-promotion to say, this is okay. I should do this. Yeah.
Yes. And that minor exchange of money is how we do exchange here on Earth currently. That minor exchange of money allows the person who reads your book or gets your product to benefit from years and all your experience and all your training. I've had over $100,000 worth of training from some of the best people in my coaching industry, and spent countless hours learning so that my clients don't have to, and I can bring the best of what will work for them in a strategy that will help them soar to success and leap those hurdles that I've already leapt. So instead of having, that learning curve, I'm taking them at the point of learned it, and then they can go from there.
Definitely. That is what I'm trying to bring with the historical dream literature specifically. I've developed basically my own master class in dream interpretation, which is study everything that's ever been written or said about it throughout history. And then I'll finally be up to speed working on that. I got like 6 more books to go after this next one. And I'll be at a place where I can say, I think I know what I'm talking about now. My method seems to work, but I can't even explain it. I mean, you can just watch it happen. And it's very much that intuitive kind of thing. It's just, what is my method? It's just what I do. I don't know where it came to me in a dream. Who knows?
It's a superpower, probably came to you in a dream. And the important thing is you're getting that out there and you're helping other people tap into that as well. So, and that's what we do is we guide as coaches, as dream makers, we guide people in the direction. They may not have those tools. So it helps other people take action to jump those hurdles and not fear the unknown. I mean, I know I was stuck for a long time. I refer to myself and my clients as super balls. Remember these little bouncy things you bounce all over the place? Yeah. Oh, I love them. Always did. I always had this as a kid. I was like mesmerized by them. It would hours I would play with it. And I never knew why. Now I do, because I am one, because I jump from thing to thing to thing like you, because we have fast working minds. Sometimes I'm in a conversation in New York and in my head, I'm already in Florida. I'm already done with the conversation. They're still working through it and I'm done. I'm like on the next topic. So we become interruptus maximus because we already understand what they're talking about. And we interrupt because we're on the next topic. So I've had to actually teach myself to harness that energy and do a holding pattern and keep on my track and wait for everybody to catch up to me. So that's not a bad thing. But one thing about a Super Bowl that people don't realize is if I take it and go to throw it to you, Benjamin, I'm going to be able to track it directly to you because I've harnessed that energy. But if I let it go wild, it's going to go all over the place. So that's what I do with my clients. I help them take action, harness their energy without muting, and you'll understand this, without muting the creativity. I'm a creative. So worst thing you could do is put a creative in a box. It's like, no, let me out. You know, I become Marcel Marceau, right? For those of you who understand that reference, if you don't, Google it. So you know, I've become that, and I'm not good in a box, and then I'll take my ball and I'll go home, literally. So and so it's real important to keep that creative space while also harnessing the energy so that someone can complete tasks, because Super Bowls have a propensity. There's about 25 symptoms to Super Bowl syndrome that I discovered, and Super Bowls have a propensity to have a lot of irons in the fire, and the reason is next book title, my next book that I'm writing, is Justifiable Excuses. We make an excuse and do this over here, which is very justifiable and very important to avoid what's over here to finish it, because we don't know next steps. And that's where a coach and someone like myself comes into play, because I can tell you what those next steps are. So quick story, if I might.
Oh, please.
I discovered Super Bowl syndrome. One day I was working. I work from Monday through Friday. I work out of my office in my home. And I found myself downstairs doing something that I don't like to do. I don't like folding laundry. To me, it's like hot pins in my eyes. But it's an important task for my family and for myself.
Got to get done. Yeah.
To get it done. So I'm sitting there, justifiable excuse. I'm sitting there folding this laundry on a Wednesday afternoon going, why am I folding laundry now? What am I avoiding? What I was avoiding was a task over here, which was, in order to take the next step, I had to make a phone call. And I was fearing the no. So for 2.5 weeks, I got a lot of other things accomplished. But for 2.5 weeks, I was putting myself through hell, pardon my language, but I was, because I was avoiding the no. A no is a no today or 2.5 weeks from now. A no is a no.
Yeah.
So just rip off the Band-Aid and get it done. So I forced myself to go upstairs, make the phone call. And don't you know, it was a hard yes and a very quick yes. So I could have avoided the 2.5 weeks of, you know, finding other things to do to temper the fact that I wasn't doing that. And then I got to the next step, because that was what was holding me up. So we have to think about, are we doing avoidable, justifiable excuses in order not to take that next step to be successful? And we do it to ourselves. Some people call it self-sabotaging, right? Some people call it screening. And it doesn't matter what the name is. At the end of the day, we have control over it, and we just need the courage, maybe an accountability partner, a coach, a guidance person, someone to just say it's okay and kind of push you out the door, you know, to have you do that. So I was able to do it for myself, because the first step to any success is awareness of what you need to do or what you need to change, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You got to see it for what it is. You got to recognize, okay, there is a problem. You don't even see it. You're never going to do anything about it.
Or there is a dream.
True.
Or there is a dream. And that dream is attainable, and people talk themselves out of it. 92% of the people don't achieve their resolutions, and they quit within the first 3 weeks of January. 92%. And it's because, one, they don't make it attainable, and two, they put too much on. They make it huge, and they expect it to happen overnight.
I'm going to change my entire life tomorrow. No, you're not.
yeah, well, you might, but it's not really going to work out that way. I promise you. It's like eating a pizza. We don't eat the whole pie at one time. If you can, I'd like to see it, by the way. So please send
that would be kind of amazing. No, one bite at a time. Like, what was that Shel Silverstein poem? How do you eat a whale? One bite at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So the same thing with our goals and our dreams. We have to do it a step at a time. But first, you got to know what you want, and that's the other yummy thing about it. We have to learn what we don't want before we recognize what we do want. So we have to go through a lifetime of, oh, I don't want that. Oh, I don't like spinach. Oh, I don't, which I do, by the way, but I don't like doing this. I don't want to do that. This is not for me. This is for me. And that's the yummy place. That's the place that makes you soar, that makes you happy. When someone's looking for, what is my purpose? What makes you happy?
Mm.
Doesn't matter what it is. What makes you happy? And then how can we monetize that? That's the track that you want to put yourself in. Because when you're in those happy vibrations, because everything vibrates around us,
Oh yeah.
we're vibrating. When we're in happy, joyous vibration, people are automatically attracted to you like a magnet. When we're in those not so happy vibrations, we actually repel like a magnet.
Yeah. No,
Right?
definitely. Yeah. And there is that, I've talked to a lot of people in the past, I mean, the idea of flow state or in the zone, we think of
Sure.
it with athletes and stuff, but it can come from a lot of places. And I didn't want to lose this train of thought. So bring it up right now. The idea that the book you contributed a story to was about dreams, and there's a dual meaning to dreams. There are wishes, aspirations, and then there are technical nocturnal visions experienced during sleep. And then there's the blending of the two, and they do have a tremendous overlap in terms of sometimes we see in our dreams our wishes fulfilled. And this goes back to the Freudian idea of, well, all dreams are wish fulfillment. Not exactly, sort of. It doesn't, but it's true and not true at the same time. But we can absolutely have a dream that is just pure wish fulfillment. Oh, I just had a nice fantasy adventure. I could fly, and I went all over the place, and that's like the classic wish fulfillment dream in some ways of like, I want this sense of freedom, or you see, your crush returns your affection in your dream, wish fulfillment, that type of thing, and but also the idea that where the blending of the language comes is the idea of dreams being fantasies. They are imaginary. They don't exist in a physical, tangible sense. They happen in our head, literally. But then we look at
Our head
Go ahead.
Our head doesn't know the difference.
It
Our head
doesn't.
doesn't
No.
know time. Our head doesn't know the difference. That's where we can't, I was told since I was little, get out of your head, Lori, and get out, because I was overthinking. I always
Mm,
heard that. And I'm, what does that mean? But now I know what it means,
mm,
because we really don't think with our head. Think of it like this. Our brains are like laptops. When you shut the top of the laptop, it doesn't do anything. It hangs out and waits for us to come back and play with it,
mm.
right? We think is really from our hearts. And there's actual statistics now that they're showing that we think from our hearts. And when we do, we are in our genuine selves. When we do, we make the best decisions because we're thinking from our heart. So when we're dreaming, there's not a difference. We're dreaming, a lot of times it's coming from desires of the heart.
Mm.
So when you're having these dreams, sometimes it's subconscious and we're just eliminating things that no longer work for us, right? So
Yeah,
those are bad dreams.
can
But
be. Yeah.
the good dreams that are yummy and fulfilling are the ones that we can actually fulfill. If you dream it, you can do it. Universe, God, Source does not give us dreams that we cannot achieve. Let me say that again. Universe, God, Source does not give us dreams that we don't have the capability to achieve. We actually have to take action to get
Yep.
it done.
Definitely.
So
That
how
goes.
cool is that?
Yeah. And so that, just to continue that in that terms of, dreams being fantasy, then we think of fantasies we have while awake, the imaginary concept of what if, or the kind of a process picture we paint of fulfilling a drive, a desire, an urge, whatever it is. And those come out sounding weird. We think of, biological urges and whatnot, but, an urge towards fulfillment of a particular kind, an urge towards feeling accomplished, say, utilizing your talent. So then we fantasize about, well, what does it look like? And it's weird to say fantasy. It's a fantasy. We imagine, what does it look like for me to enact my desire to meaningfully contribute to a particular thing with my unique talents. Then we start painting that picture, and then the actualizing of it, as I think you're just saying, do it or don't. It's like, now you have a choice. Do I put this into practice? You have a plan. You have a vision, a waking vision, is a lot of this older terminology, and then you put it into practice. So this then again links back to your book and the chapter you contributed. So I wanted to make sure we talked about that a bit.
I love that. It does link back to that. And I love what you were saying too, is that, so I do, when I'm doing inspirational, I'm an inspirational speaker as well. So when I do that, I do an exercise called act as if. And that's what you're doing when you're having your fantasy or your dream. You're acting as if. One of the things that I did a long time ago, I didn't know I was doing this then, but I know it now, is in junior high school, I was an usher for a show.
Mm.
And I was standing there and I was watching the show. The show was great. And I was like, I could do that. And then I started acting as if I could do that. And then the next show auditions came up, and I went and just unabashedly went up there and, audition for it. And as a first level, as a sixth grader at the time, because that was junior high school, as a sixth grader, I got what normally was referred to the ninth grader's part, because I acted as if, and apparently enough, that they thought I was really good at it. And then what I had dreamed of in the aisle as the usher, I was now on stage for the next show. So those are little things that we do, is we can visualize ourselves speaking in front of large groups, or we can visualize ourselves being that baseball player, or we can visualize ourselves achieving whatever, insert your goal here. Now we have to take actions, and that's where the pizza analogy comes in. We don't eat the pizza in one bite. We have to cut it in slices, and then we take bites from there. It's the backing it up, and what actions do I have to take to become that baseball player? I have to go out and practice. I have to learn how to play baseball. I have to learn how to hit the ball really well. How do I do that? Practice, practice, practice. It goes back to a basketball player. And I believe it was Michael Jordan. It might have been him. But he got rejected in high school to be on the basketball team. Like hardcore. The coach was like, yeah, no. By the way, P.S., how does the coach feel now?
Oopsie.
But because of that failure in his mind, he fell forward. Take the word fail. The I, put a little foot on it. Now it's fall. Fell is falling forward and giving you an opportunity to succeed. So now he was aware, right? Now that comes in the awareness that he had to do something else. And so he practiced, went back, tried out, got on, and now he's like a multi-gazillionaire and, one of the best in the world doing it. That's how we are successful. That's how success happens. And that's overnight 30-year success.
Yep.
is exactly what it is. It takes traction. It takes starting someplace. It takes taking those steps, but you have to take action and be consistent. If you do that, aware, take action, be consistent, you will be successful. You will be able to achieve whatever it is that you could dream. And in the book, Women Who Dream, my chapter is 2 choices. There are only 2 choices. Do it or don't do it. And either choice is fine. It's yes or no. It's go or stop.
Ma'am.
Whatever you decide is your answer, it's absolutely right at that particular moment. And you may change your mind. That's the coolest thing. It's like beliefs. Beliefs are just thoughts we think over and over again. So if we have a belief we can't, that's just a thought you think over and over again. Or someone told you when you were little, oh, you can't do that. Or, they put you in that pigeon box, right? That pigeonhole.
Yeah.
I don't like it there, so I'm going to bust out of it. And when somebody says can't, I'm like, watch me.
Yeah, it becomes the great risk is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I believe I can't, therefore I cannot.
Right. Yeah. It's like, see, I told you I couldn't. Of course, because you didn't try and you didn't practice and you didn't take action and you didn't take the steps that are required. So you can't sit there and you can, but you're not going to be successful. You need to sit and have a vision, a visualization, a dream, a fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. You want to see it in 3D. Here's the little yumminess to it too. You need to use all of your senses. You need to smell it. You need to hear it. You need to see it. You need to feel it right here, acting as if it was true. It's not imposter syndrome. It's acting as if until your body and brain believes it and taking the steps to make it a reality. That is the simplest way I can explain success principles. The simplest way to say you do it every single day. You're consistently showing up for yourself and taking those small little actions. I do this thing that I learned from my mentor, Jack Canfield, the America's #1 success coach, right? I learned from him. I just had a radio interview with him today, actually.
Nice.
I learned from him do the rule of 5. Do 5 things before 12 o'clock, that little tiny things that get you a little closer to your dream. 5 things. I even have a little pad that I keep here on my desk that are 5 things. And I write the 5 things in the night before. And that morning, those are the first 5 things. They don't have to be big. A lot of people, they overstep and they make it a big project. I have to sharpen all my pencils so I can take my notes. I have to make this phone call so that Benjamin and I can have a conversation today. I need to confirm with so-and-so I'm having 5 things that will get you closer to your dream. Just write them down. If you do that every single day, guarantee you will be successful. You will achieve the goal that you have set out.
Yeah. And there's at least two benefits to that popped to mind immediately. And one is physical, tangible, material progress towards your goal. Whatever it is, you're getting it done. And that actually physically moves you in the right direction. Mentally also, it is building that kind of a rolling snowball of success. I did 5 things yesterday. I did 5 today. Tomorrow I'll do 5 more. Now I've done 15. Whoa, only 3 days. I already got 15 things done. You rack up success, and that just keeps that inertia. You develop a kind of inertia that carries itself through some of the times when you're like, I'm not as motivated. I'm a little more scatterbrained. Well, hey, I've already made a lot of progress. I'll pick it up again tomorrow. We'll give it another push.
Yes, brilliant. Because we need to look back and say we had 3 really good days today. I'm not feeling it. I still would like you to push through, but if you can't, it's okay. Look back and appreciate our achievements. We don't do it enough. I do Friday at 9 a.m. I celebrate me by myself. Sometimes if there's a girlfriend around or one of my friends around, I'll celebrate with them. But I look back on my week and see what I was successful at. I don't mean, walk down the red carpet, albeit I would love to do that too. I mean, I was able to jump a hurdle. Sometimes it's as simple as I got out of bed that day and I didn't want to. I pushed myself enough to get out of my bed and do those 5 things. And if that's all I did for the whole entire day, I was successful. I can go golf. I can go hang out at the beach. I could go hang out with my friends. I could pet my cat the rest of the day.
Yep.
I could binge watch if I want to. Whatever it is, I did those 5 things. So I accomplished something. We need to appreciate those steps that we take because it gets cumulative.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If we are doing 5 things a day, that signals to me we have a goal. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you want to go? Yeah. So how do you know what steps to take? So that's where a lot of people get into that hamster wheel. They get up and they do the same thing every single day and they go, I don't know why I'm not getting anywhere. What's your goal? Where do you want to go?
Yeah. Are you trying to go anywhere? You definitely got to, I love that analogy. If you got to pick a destination, or how do you even chart a path? I love the idea of actually a physical map. I need to go to the dentist. The dentist is across town. I need to leave my house and get in the car. First step. Then I make a left because I got to get on this road going north. The path becomes clear once the destination is chosen. Otherwise, you can go anywhere. You're adrift on the ocean. You can move in any direction you want, up, down, 360 degrees. Where are you going? Why? What's the purpose? What purpose do you have to put energy into anything if you don't have a destination chosen? That's definitely.
Yeah. And that goes back to 2 choices: do it or don't do it.
Yeah.
Stop or go. Forward or backwards. And again, there are no wrong answers. It's just where you're going to be. It's how quickly you're going to move. Depends on the answers that you give yourself. And if we take all the emotions out of it, and we take all the buts, and we take mom and dad out of it, and we take our spouse, our significant other out of it, our bestie who's telling you, oh, you can't do it. By the way, if they are, get a new bestie.
They're not your bestie. Whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's not your bestie. You want to surround yourself with raving fans. People who just really adore you for good, bad, and ugly, and who just really, they support you, not to support you in a way that you're going to fail at your dreams and give you misinformation.
Not codependency, not enabling. Yeah.
Yes. Not who will tell you, your ass looks, that your butt looks fat.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
That you do look fat in those white pants.
Yeah.
You know what? I appreciate the honesty, and those are the people who I want around me, and you are the 5 people around you. So you want to surround yourself with 5 amazing humans. And, I'm fortunate enough to be surrounded by amazing humans, and they come to you. It's like a little magnet. That's how you came to me. You're an amazing human. We connected over the internet, and I was like, oh my God, he's amazing at what you do and how you put yourself out there and how you facilitate other people's dreams. That is your superpower, my friends.
Yeah, that is. Well, thank you. I believe it. And again, it's like, I'm not comfortable with praise, but thank you. And I should recognize that and become more comfortable with it. But I think of what I'm doing is, that's what I want people to do is be able to see themselves better. And I have no outcome or agenda beyond that. It's definitely just you bring me what you got. We look at it. We try and see it for what it is, and in a way that can be useful. And we're done.
Yeah.
We did the thing, and hopefully it's interesting. Solving a mystery, Sherlock Holmes style.
And for you, I see you and the compliment indicated what I see in you, and that you are magical, you are mystical, you are providing such a beautiful thing to other people. And that's one of my superpowers, is really seeing people's purpose and really seeing if they're on their right path and being able to direct them. Sometimes people will come and say, well, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to go down this path? Because this path is going to probably end up looking like this. And the people who listen and maneuver. And that's the other thing with goals, is we need to have goals, but sometimes we need to listen, or all the time we need to listen to the whispers, the nudges that we were talking about earlier, to let us know, well, we might need to make a right turn and change what that goal looks like. So I'm kind of like the lifeguard at a pool. You're in the pool, swimming water, treading water, right? And you're trying to work in your business. So you're treading water, doing everything you possibly can at that point. I'm the lifeguard sitting there going, shark in front, you got incoming in the back. I'm able to help you work on your business and say, okay, you're treading water here, but we need to get you to your goal, which is that island over there. How are we going to do that? Are we going to take a boat? Are we going to take a plane? Are we going to take a car? How are we going to get that transportation there? Like you said, creating those Waze routes. And just like Waze or Google Maps, I'm sure you've used that driving a car. It always gives you three choices: the longest route, it gives you the short direct route, and then it gives you kind of a medium route. And you get to pick which route you want to take. The cool thing is sometimes I'm so obstinate. I'll take the long one. Only because I won't listen to the short one. I have learned to listen to the nudges, the whispers, and pick those up sooner so I can do the shorter route as opposed to taking the long route. Either way, what you will notice is all routes take you to where your destination is. And where your goal is, where you're supposed to end up. So for me, I was in marketing and business for 35 plus years. But all along the way, I would be coaching people, mentoring people, being their muse, saying, why don't you try this? And you could be better at that, and lifting people up, and exactly what I do now as a business success coach, exactly what I'm doing now. I was always meant to do this. So when I left private sector, I used to work in the public sector, then I went back to the private sector. When I left private sector, I dropped a 6-figure job and said, I'm out, I'm done. They had done something that no longer resonated with me. I was literally getting physically sick going into work. I was like, I'm done. Told them I appreciate the opportunity, left my access card on the president's desk, walked out, said, mail me my stuff, I don't care. And I drove away without another job. That is not like me in any way, shape, or form, Benjamin. I am the person who always had the foot in the next door before I left this door. I just got up and left. I went to what I knew best, which was my marketing, and I started my marketing company. But everything kept leading me to coaching, and I listened. And I watched the route, and it was a very quick route because I listened and went, all right, you want me to navigate this way? I don't know what it looks like, but okay, I'll go this way. And you just follow the waves, kind of like the waves of a ocean. Just follow the waves. If you watch, there's a pattern. You'll see the yeses come in. It was, yes, here's a client. Yes, here's a coach that you want. Yes, here's Jack Canfield. He's going to teach you what you need to know. Here's a book that you want to read. Here's a person that you're going to have 5-second conversation, and they're going to drop this nugget that is going to be like so yummy and aha moment to you that you're going to just really take that next leap. Just listen and pay attention. And it's like billboards. All of a sudden, billboards that I had driven by for years were saying things like, yes, go for it, which meant something totally different today than the yes, go for it slogan that they had that I've been passing all along. It was definitely that license plates. Oh my gosh, so those are the little things that all of a sudden you notice, angel numbers or repetitive numbers, 222, 111, 444. Look it up. When you see those angel numbers, look it up. If you see the time, if you're always looking at the time, and like before it was like 333, I'm like, all right, I'm getting a message. My angels are saying, yes, you're going on the right path. Just keep going. So if you look it up, you could look it up on Google, what those numbers mean, you will get the message that is being given to you. Because our guides, our angels, our higher powers, they're rooting for us, and they experience joy through giving us what they want. And that's where the law of attraction comes from, and the law of replacement comes from. We can replace bad thoughts with good thoughts. That's the law of replacement. You could also replace good thoughts with bad thoughts, but like who wants to do that?
Right. Why would you? Yeah.
Exactly. That doesn't make any sense to me. And then the law of attraction is just that. The law is if I do the work and I'm very clear at what my vision is, what my affirmation is, what goal I have. If I'm very clear, universe has to give it to me. Has to give it to me. Now, let me be very clear on this. If I say I want to make more money, universe gives me another dollar. Universe came through.
Yeah.
So be very specific of the number and very specific of the date, and it will come as close as it possibly can. I literally was thinking I need $10,000 because I want to do X, and boom, the next thing I know, I'm getting a $10,000 check. That was a reimbursement that I didn't even know was coming, and all of a sudden it was like poof, there it was.
Yeah.
It's true. It happens. It's amazing, and you just go, oh my God, and then you start believing. And here's something for your listeners and yourself to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play with it, think about where you're driving to. If you drive, think about where you're walking to. If you're walking, with the driving, I want this parking spot right in front of the door. And visualize the parking spot as you're driving there. Don't close your eyes though, because you're driving.
Right.
And visualize what that parking spot looks like, and that you're going to be pulling right in. And invariably, you will do that. I do that with red lights. I'm like, guys, I'm late. Please get me there on time. And all of a sudden, it's like green light, green light, green light, green light, green light. You can play with it.
Yeah.
Play with it. And that's what will give you that confirmation that you are in the right place and you're really working on it and your intention is good.
Very cool.
But it's very repetitive.
Yeah, no, it can be. And that's, I think what you were saying, play with it. The idea of let's just suspend, do not invest belief, but also suspend disbelief and just look at what happens. Just give some things a try and see the results. Sometimes you got to experiment. But I also wanted to do, another thought occurred to me, linking the idea of, or teasing out the difference between what is a fan, so we've got, say, a therapist, you've got a coach, and where the similarity is that you've got someone who is on your side, in your corner, encouraging, and you separate that out from a yes man or a sycophant who's just telling you what you want to hear. It's not the same thing.
I could do that in a mirror.
Yeah, exactly. So what you want is someone who's going to help you stay encouraged, but also help you figure out what's functionally possible and realistic in some ways too, and that's teasing out the difference. And that often gets confused with being a Debbie Downer or a someone who's discouraging, but it's more like you need the person who's going to say your goals, that's fantastic. That's what you want. I'm in your corner. Here's your plan. All right. That's too much. That's going to set you up for failure. So,
yeah. Or have you thought about this? Or have you thought about that? We don't need to confuse. So a lot of times when that Debbie Downer or that family or friend is like, ooh, what about this? Or I don't know if you could do that. It's really their fears.
Sometimes they're trying to hold you back. Yeah.
Their fears. And sometimes people do try to hold you back because if they see you successful, that makes them feel bad about themselves. Mm-hmm. That's not ours to do. That's not ours to take on. That's a them issue, not a you issue. So that's a really important thing that you said. That raving fan isn't a yes person. I could do that by going, if I needed somebody to say yes to me all the time, I just look in the mirror and I could do that myself. I don't need anybody's help with that. I'm like, oh my God, you're amazing. High five. So that's not what we want. Although that's a good thing to do for ourselves to make sure that
sometimes,
we're, honest with ourselves. But those raving fans are people like my bestie, Deborah. She's going to be honest with me. She's like, no, those shoes aren't nice. I don't think they're the best. She'll be kind about it, but she won't allow me to do it. She'll give me her opinion on it and then allow me to take that opinion and do something with it. My mother used to do this thing that used to drive me crazy. I would ask her opinion because I want her opinion, but then I didn't agree with it and I didn't take it. She goes, well, why did you ask me in the first place? And I was like, I just wanted another view of it. And I still think this is the best decision.
Yeah.
Whether she did or not. And she was always right. It was annoying, but whatever.
Well, some people think the only value of their counsel is if you take it, not in the discussion itself. They miss that part where sometimes you just need to talk it through and go, all right, I'm still convinced my idea was right, but at least I took the opportunity to have a look at it. And that itself is valuable. Yeah.
Yes, you're exploring your options. It's very important to explore your options. I used to be a legislative aide and then a chief of staff. I worked in public sector. And my job, as far as I saw it, was to let my elected have 360 view of something, good, bad, and ugly, and then let him make the decision. 9 times out of 10, we were on the same page. That one time when we weren't, I'm like, I don't know why you're doing that. But I knew I was cleanup crew. So when it didn't work, I was going to be there and I would have to, clean up if it didn't work. And
For sure.
sometimes it did, and sometimes it didn't. It depended on what the result was. But again, like as a coach, I always say, I make suggestions, you make decisions.
Yeah. And you know what? That's actually how the Dream Wizard thing works. And we should probably jump into that too, because this is how these episodes go 4.5 hours. We talk for 2 hours before we even get to the dream. But no, but speaking of my process in general, is like I always say, and I say it almost every episode now, none of the answers are in me. It's not my dream. I'm not you. I do not have your experience. I didn't have the dream at all, even if you're describing it to me. So the most I can do is make suggestions, and then you make the decision. That's a fantastic way to put it. You tell me which suggestion feels right. It makes the most sense or inspires a new connected thought. If you think of it this way, I just had a thought. Okay, so I tell people also, cut me off anytime. If I just ramble until you have something to say with the dream thing. But are you ready to transition into that? You said you needed a break at some point, but that's not right now.
I'm good. I have it set up so that they're going to come in. I may have to stop for a second, just fine. So that I can remind them not to vacuum while we're doing the recording.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, no problem. Good deal. Well, okay. So as per my usual process, I'm going to write down the time. I've gotten better at doing the little timestampy thing for myself, so I can find the edit. We're going to jump into the dream thing. So our friend Lorianne's going to tell me her nocturnal vision. I'm going to listen, shut up and listen for a step. Then we're going to go back through it again and try and put together something that makes sense. So I'm ready when you are. Benjamin the Dream Wizard wants to help you pierce the veil of night and shine the light of understanding upon the mystery of dreams. Every episode of his Dreamscapes program features real dreamers gifted with rare insight into their nocturnal visions. New Dreamscapes episodes appear every week on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and other video hosting platforms, as well as free audiobooks highlighting the psychological principles which inform our dream experience and much, much more. To join the wizard as a guest, reach out across more than a dozen social media platforms and through the contact page at benjaminthedreamwizard.com, where you will also find the wizard's growing catalog of historical dream literature available on Amazon, featuring the wisdom and wonder of exploration into the world of dreams over the past 2,000 years. That's Benjamin the Dream Wizard on YouTube and at benjaminthedreamwizard.com.
Thank you for asking, Benjamin. So it's a reoccurring dream, and it's kind of bizarre. I'm flying, and then I'm ending up in this, I'm going to say this little village, but I suspect that, and I'm not sure if it's a dream about something that actually occurred or not, because it's so vividly real. Like I feel and remember, I can even get the sense that my mom was there. We're walking in this like little village, and we're in these buildings that look like houses, almost like it's somewhere in Pennsylvania type of a thing, where it has a village behind. So they have stores behind other stores, like a little neighborhood thing, but it's all walkable, right? So I go into this one place, and I'm a certified herbalist and aromatherapist now, but then I walked into the store, and this store was magical to me. It had all these glass bottles like lining the ceilings, like they were all up really high, and it was all these apothecary bottles and glasses, and all these different herbs were in there, and I didn't know what they were, and they were labeled, but I didn't understand what they were for. And it had this beautiful smell to it, it's the meshing of all the different smells of the essential oils and the natural herbs and all the other products that they were carrying. And I remember I was mesmerized by that and the crystals in there. And again, I just know crystals now, but referring back to my dream, it was these rocks that were really, really pretty, and they were shiny, and I loved them. So And then I remember that my mom said, we have to go, and kind of feeling like I was being dragged out. And then it would go someplace else. Like I never got a view of what the name of the place was, but I couldn't stay there because mom wanted to leave. So I get this periodically, I get this flying, and then I go to that, and then mom drags me out and I end up someplace else. The someplace else always changes. So it could be, it was all of a sudden I'm at my grandmother's house, or I'm at a business thing that's totally unrelated to what I was doing, or I'm seeing somebody that was somebody who was very influential in my past but hurt me severely and is trying to get back and talking to me about getting back with me. So these are things that have happened. It happens, I would say, once every 3 or 4 months, I will have this dream. So good luck with that. It's a carnival up here.
Wonderful. No, that's a fantastic dream. So, very common experience when relating dreams, especially dreams of reoccurring dreams specifically, is a lot of people try to give the overview instead of one specific dream. And it's very understandable. You want to explain the phenomenon. I tend to work best from a specific instance, and then we generalize out once we kind of get, well, why this topic in this form, and now we look at, okay, how does it might it apply to other situations?
Yeah.
But I think you did a fantastic job with that, of the herbalist shop dream. That was one specific destination. It's been other destinations in other dreams.
Oh no, it's always that destination. It's always flying
leave to somewhere else
and leave and end up go someplace else. That's why I didn't even go to the someplace else, because that changes.
Yeah,
it's this part that's always the same.
Good deal. No, exactly. It's
so vivid that I'm not sure if it didn't really happen, because I was very young. In the dream, I'm very young.
That's what I was going to say, is the when did this first occur to you? When you were young? Yeah.
Well, the
rough estimate.
Let's see. I've had this dream for the last 20 years.
Okay.
Easily. But I think in the dream, I'm probably 7, 9, someplace in there.
Okay.
Probably more like 7, because it was more like hold my hand, drag me out, not mom, you're driving me nuts. So 9-ish would be more like mom, you're driving me nuts.
So you had this dream, at least when you were an older teenager or young adult, was the first time. But even in that dream, you're going back to a younger time.
Yeah, I just had it like 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha. Okay, and it's always you at this younger time with this fascination with the herbal shop. Okay, and you may have. This may have been an actual physical occurrence. You may have wandered into this magical, observed a place that felt magical to you as a child, and you got hurried out before you were done. And now that experience is frozen kind of iconically as representing a certain kind of feeling. It's like, oh, it's like when this happens. And you show yourself the image that it's related to. We do that with a lot of experiences too. So it's not at all unusual. We do it in our waking life. We make analogies and comparisons all the time.
Yeah, because our brains can't tell what happened, if it happened 50 years ago or if it happened 5 minutes ago. Our brain can't tell that.
Yeah.
So that's why until we acknowledge it and are aware of it, we can't release it.
Yeah. And the weird thing too is you may have even just seen a brief 3-second clip of a panning shot of the inside of an apothecary herbalist crystal shop. And then that got frozen in your head from the dream as I've actually been there. And then it feels so real. So that an image you witnessed of a place you've never been, made it into a dream as an experience of a place you've been. This is all possible. But then that doesn't even matter, because the entire dream thing is all in your head. It's all imaginary. It doesn't matter if you were ever there. The experience or the meaning of it remains the same, whether it was ever physical or not. So the dream usually starts off with you flying. And is that the first experience you have in the dream?
Flying, always flying. I am flying. It's always over trees. I go flying over trees and, just looking around. It's a beautiful, free feeling.
So when you say trees, is this like a civilization-free forest scape? Or is it? Okay. So no people, no cities, no buildings. It's just flying over treetops. Okay, very interesting. Because it would be What does it mean? I don't know, but it would be a very different experience to say I was definitely flying over the tops of buildings in a city. That's not a forest. That is something else. And this is actually, you're away from all people. You're flying dreams. I mean, they can mean a lot of different things, but definitely they've been associated with positive feelings of freedom or escape sometimes, but also freedom from constraint. It's the idea of limitless possibility in a way, and the attainment of limitless possibility. I am not wishing I could fly. I am flying. And so we have that experience. Okay, imagine you are not earthbound anymore. That could be a strong metaphor as well. You keep your feet on the ground, be practical. It can be a metaphor for leaning into the impractical. All of these, this is the explosion of thoughts that happens in my head as soon as you say, so I was flying above trees. That's how my brain works. So
Love it.
If that makes sense to you, if that conceptualization of freedom from constraints makes sense and feels right, then we would maybe lean into that in terms of, okay, then where does that take you? If you have an alternative feeling of like, no, it wasn't really like that. What was it more like? You know,
No, it was like that.
Okay, definitely.
I know it was like that.
Yeah, and that's where we.
It was empowering.
Yeah. Well, that's where we get into the things of like, okay, there is no dream book to which flying means the same thing to every person. That said, there is the kind of collective unconscious experience and the human experience of what flight means to us as earthbound creatures. We wish we could be as free as the birds. Strong metaphors in there. May not apply to you. And if it doesn't, fair enough. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. But it seems like, okay, we're on the right track there with that one.
Yeah.
Then the next element is the absence of civilization. You're not flying over a city. You're not. There's no city in the distance. I mean, I didn't ask enough questions, but you're not volunteering lakes, mountains, and stuff like that. It's just the iconic representation of a forest primeval in a way, never touched by human hands. Go ahead.
There are mountains in the background.
Okay.
But I'm not flying over a mountain. I don't know, but it's definitely tops of trees. I'm looking down at tops of trees. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I mean, do you see anything along that flight? How long does it last? What's the experience of that flight like?
It's not so long. I mean, again, from a dreams perspective, there's
Who
no
can
such
say,
thing.
right?
There's not a concept of time. Time is a construct that humans developed because time doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
So that's
it lasted as long as it felt like it lasted. Absolutely.
Exactly. So the construct is hard to say, but it didn't
brief.
seem like it was like up and down. It didn't seem brief. Right.
Okay. So it wasn't brief, but it didn't feel like it went on too long. It went on just the right amount of time.
Yeah, it was actually I needed to go someplace, right? But there was no sense of urgency. It was just it was clear that there was a destination.
So the flying was, in a way, a mode of travel. You were heading towards it. Okay, flight as travel to destination. And some things are like, no, I was just aimlessly buzzing about, and then an experience came upon me. No, you're actually using this. So if we're looking at it conceptually, there's something about leaning in, embracing, embodying, whatever, the freedom from constraint of the liberated ability to fly as represented by that is your vehicle of transport towards a destination. And initially in this dream, that destination is this shopping with your mom where you come across the magical place. But I did want to say one more thing about perhaps the idea that popped into my head, and you tell me if it resonates or not, with the absence of, say, civilization. I keep saying that because civilization, the word originally, the idea of being civil and then of civilizing people. It brings to mind the idea of social pressures used to shape us into people who can live with other people. And so if you're in an environment where there is no need of behaving in any civil manner because there are no other people, that's another layer of freedom. It's like if I could strip away all the things that constrain, it's almost like the brainstorming, no bad ideas. You're putting yourself in that mindset of like, okay, and then this all just a brief, relatively brief, it lasts as long as it needs to, section of framing for your mind. Okay, if I'm going to achieve this, or if I'm going to approach whatever I'm going to do next through this lens, we're going to start with this imagery. Remember where you're starting from, and that's going to inform the rest of it. So a lot of times the beginning, because these are very often associated chains of thoughts, one leads to the other. And a lot of these opening scenes can be, say, foundational, worldview establishing shots, like in a movie. You're like, here's the scene. That kind of a thing. So it lasts as what we'd say about the duration. It lasts as long as it needed to for you to solidify in your mind. Okay, here's our starting point.
Point of clarity.
Please.
When I'm in the flying mode, I'm in my current age. When I'm in the shop, it's when I'm little.
Wow, I don't know what to do with that. That's okay. I love being confused.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with it either.
And that's fantastic. You volunteered it, and it just occurred to you now, kind of just in this moment.
It just occurred to me. Yeah.
And this is why I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and it works. I just ramble until people have things to say. I tell you everything I'm thinking about what you're telling me, and somewhere in there is some inspiration, like something speaking through me and like musing you in terms of like, then you get an idea that never would have occurred to you if you weren't talking to someone about it and having them try and give you feedback.
I want to change the lens on what you said about the free of civilization and stuff like that. It's a point where I'm genuinely myself, wholly myself, with no constraints whatsoever.
Okay.
So that's a different way for me to look at it, is that, I'm totally being who I'm meant to be, with no societal pressures to be something other than who I am. So I can be in insert my age here, don't do math.
Yeah.
I could be that person and still be the 5-year-old that I am, because I always say I'm this many. Because in my inside, I'm this many.
Right? For sure. And that's why, also being respectful and not asking you, well, exactly how old were you? Right? Or now, right? That. Yeah, why not? I don't need to know.
Not answering.
Not critical. No, that's good. I appreciate that clarification, because again, I'm throwing out words until you tell me, yes, that's right, or wait, I got a better idea. This is almost like a game of improv. It's like yes and or no but, and we keep it moving. And that's, I don't know. I'm coming up with all kinds of new analogies for trying to describe to myself what the hell I'm doing. One of these days I'll write a book. So your framing of it is more like,
by the way.
What's that?
You will write a book. You will write a book very successfully.
It's already happening up here. I just got to do it. Do it or don't. Right?
Remember what I said earlier? I can project 7 to 10 steps down. You will write a book.
Fantastic.
It will be incredibly successful.
Oh, thank you very much. I believe you. I choose to believe you. There you go.
This process that you're doing now is part of your
I think
work
it is.
To write a book. Yeah.
Yeah. First, okay, just 2 seconds to harken back to what we were saying earlier of like the baseball player thing. It's like, so adopting roles, we do what we do is what we are in that way. Like we are the role if we play the role. If you are a baseball player, if you step onto the diamond in cleats and you swing the bat at the ball, you play by the rules. That's where I'm going with the wizard thing, is like, what is a wizard? Well, I've defined it in certain ways. That's a whole nother video, but there's also, playing in the, playing t-ball and playing minor league and playing big leagues, professional ball. It's all baseball, but there's degrees. So I'm looking at myself as like, I'm not t-ball, but it's not not professional yet. It's kind of the minor leagues, maybe a AAA farm team, something.
You're further along than you think. You have what would the analogy be? You have scouts looking at you.
I hope so. The more exposure, the better. So we'll continue with that. So back to you, of course, because this is not supposed to be about me at all. I love the way that the idea coalesced in your head. This is representing when I am able to be or free to be my most genuine self. And then something about grasping that fully as the starting point. Okay. When X, then Y, and bam, now you're with your mom. And I think they're connected. We're going to find out why. So what is there any kind of is it a hard cut teleportation scene change that happens very often, or do you land?
No, it's like totally disconnected. It's like I'm flying, poof, I'm with my mom in this like little village is what I'm going to call it.
Okay.
Going behind these other shops to find these new shops, and in the new shop strip is this, and it's some reason all of the buildings are red. And there's that herbal shop that I didn't know what it was. And I wanted to go in there, so I kind of pulled my mom in.
Okay, so we've got multiple elements here. We've got village, we've got shops, we've got red. They're all red, like a red brick facade type of
Yeah, like
place.
red brick
Okay,
kind of barny type looking buildings.
a barn. Um, and we've got then the specific type of shop that then draws you in or you focus on or stumble upon that is put in your path in some ways. So there's probably some, I mean, how do we approach this? I don't want to go all Freudian. Tell me about your mother. But do you have a good relationship with her now? Did you when you were younger? Is it different? I don't know if you want to get too much into that, just kind of broad strokes.
Yeah. So
why your mom in this dream,
Yeah, I don't know. Mom's since been passed. I always went shopping with mom. I could see my mom taking me out because that wouldn't resonate with her. I've always been attractive. We used to live on like 5 acres and on a hill, and I always was in the woods playing around and having these dreams and fantasies, making up stories, and that's where I found a lot of on Long Island. We have a lot of arrowheads because Native Americans lived here for many years. And probably many decades. And there were lots of arrowheads we would find, and I would make up stories about that. And I would always look at plants and go, God, what is this for? What is this? Because I know Native Americans know their plants. And I was like, I really want to know this. And so that was all there. Connect that dot with this dream, connect that dream with the fact that I got certified as an herbalist to know now what those plants are and to know how to use them to naturally cure. And it's a modality that I use in my business as well. I use essential oils in my business. I use herbs if necessary in my business. If somebody's open to it, we can incorporate those modalities in what we do. And I'm also a big believer of using natural products. I mean, real natural products, not FDA claimed natural products. Because for an FDA product to be natural, it only has to have 5% pure in it.
Yeah.
To be considered natural and pure to the FDA.
Right?
I don't even know. I was like, they shouldn't be allowed to use the word organic, pure, or what's the other word that gets overused now? It's crazy. But it was always an attraction. And I don't know if it started with that real occurrence or that dream. But those magical jars up there were magic. What do they do? How do they cure you? What am I supposed to do with this information?
Yeah. So shopping with your mom is something that you did in the real world. I mean, that's an experience you had. So it'd be very common that if you're going out to acquire something, you would be on a mission with mom because she's the facilitator of the shopping experience in a way. So she might be kind of like that, playing that role in your dreams. Like, well, because I'm a child again, necessarily I'm with my mom. What are we doing? I'm seeking, so I need her as a partner in this to facilitate it. There's something like that going on there, but there's also like this affinity for the woods, and if you're going with red brick, red barns, there's a very rural, closer to nature side of thing going on. Again, you're in a village, you're in a small town, you're not in a big city, you're not going from swinging through the concrete jungle looking for answers among that type of a space. Right. So there's something about, being your genuine self, and we're going to refine it down a little bit and say, well, now you're on a quest. You're shopping. You're looking to acquire. You're with a facilitator. You're in the proper setting for it. And what you find there is magic. What you find there is the magic herbal shop that represents all the things you're looking for. It's
knowledge.
Yeah, it's the knowledge. Yeah.
It's knowledge. That's what it is.
Knowledge pops into your head.
Because it's knowledge, because each one of those jars are different herbs, if you will, to use the metaphor, different herbs. It's different pieces of knowledge that I need to do what I'm doing today.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Every time I open one of those magical jars, I learn something else. I learned a different modality. I learned something else about myself. I learned something else that helped me help the people I'm supposed to serve.
There's every jar has a different answer to a different problem or a new way to approach a problem. Yeah.
Every jar has a different herb in it, and every herb, and there's multiple herbs that do the same thing. So you can have chamomile, hops, or valerian, and they're different levels. So chamomile is the most modern, what's the word I'm looking? Kind of sedative type thing.
Sleep aid, yeah.
Yep, the hops is the next level, and valerian is the number one. Valerian is Valium, Valium? Valium is the pharmaceutical version of valerian. They emulated valerian in pharmaceutical.
Nice.
So So the different levels of education kind of go with those different containers that we were looking at, you know?
Is the visit to the apothecary shop always the same? You go to the same sections and you have the same experience of it. So it's kind of a standardized, we are here again and all the beautiful things. And
and I remember the feeling of this is I wanted to stay and play. I wanted to stay and learn what was in each of these. I wanted to stay and ask those questions. I wanted to learn more. So it was one of those that I didn't have enough, and all right, you got to go now. No, I want to learn more about this. So it was just another point, a pivotal point in my life, I think, that continues to connect those dots of, you know, playing in the backyard and making up those stories, and now, you know, having this experience, and now it's in this constant like movie. But the thing is that, and this is what's not connecting with me, is I've learned from all the greats in my industry, from Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, anybody you can think of, Joe Dispenza, all of these huge people, Mary Morrissey, Bryn Brown, I just can't even think of all their names. They're on my website, but I've learned from all the best of the best. So what other knowledge do I need that I still have this dream?
Well, we haven't quite gotten to the end of it. So I think it's epiphanic. It's an epiphany. I don't know what would be the proper conjugation for that. I don't even know.
You can make that word up. It's new.
It is now epiphatic. I've neologized. That moment of saying, whoa, knowledge, this place represents learning, important, secret wisdom, perhaps. Secrets doesn't mean like hidden necessarily, but secrets of like, maybe most people don't know this, or you have to really look for it to find it. You're not going to find it if you don't look for it. That's the way I use the word secret, but so very important that you came to that on your own. I didn't have to, it just popped into your head. Whoa, this makes a lot of sense. You're not done there. You want to stay, but your mom is pulling you out. And there's a lot of different ways to look at that. The first two that kind of come to mind is what is it? There's a supportive and a less than supportive way to view it. So the less than supportive way is your mom dragging you out saying, I need to remove you from this place because it's not important. From her perspective of the world, maybe she wanted you to focus on more practical things, and this is spooky woo nonsense, and you shouldn't waste your time here. You're nodding. I mean, is that more likely her perspective, or?
That probably was her perspective. She didn't get it. It doesn't resonate with her. So it's like, come on, let's go.
Yeah. The other,
not understanding the connection I was having, and I wasn't verbalizing it either.
And you couldn't. You're too young. There's a reason that you're returning to this kind of a period of childhood where we've just come into the ability to distinguish between fantasy and reality. It doesn't happen until we're about 6 years old. So you're, 7 to 9. So you're in that area you're starting to figure things out, put pieces together, make rational sense of the world. What was I saying? So the opposite or alternative perspective on that was a supportive thing of her saying, we need to go. You can't stay here, but like for positive reasons of, it would be nice. I would love it if we had the time. We got to go. So it gets truncated for reasons beyond disapproval or discouragement. Go ahead.
Or not yet.
Or not yet. Yeah. And I didn't want to give it a positive or negative. I wanted to present you both options because it could have been either way. You could have been, no, my mom was wonderfully encouraging. But actually her thing was like, pshaw, let's get out of here and go do something more important.
Yeah, and maybe not more important, but maybe it just doesn't resonate with her and didn't understand the importance to me because I wasn't able to articulate it, and I wasn't certain of the importance to me. And maybe it was a not yet was what the message, the whisper, the nudge was not yet, but this is what you're going to do. And it continues. You're going to continue to do this. You're going to continue to gain knowledge, which we hope we do. We're always learning, right? And I'm a learn addict. I love learning. That's why I've studied with all these different greats because I want to be the best I can. And we do that by learning. You're reading all these books so that you can become
for sure.
The person. At there comes a point where you have to stop and start doing. We don't watch the Discovery Channel anymore. We become the Discovery Channel. So,
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it was at the time where I needed to watch the Discovery Channel. It was a not yet, but this is what's to come, and how
Yeah.
exciting, and this will be in your world. And maybe it was an insight, kind of a dream that keeps coming back saying you're not done yet.
Yes, definitely. I'd probably there will be this, probably you and I are similar. That learning is never done. There's always more. We're never going to know everything up to the day we die. There will be things we don't know. So the eternal student.
Yeah.
This is very much the iconic of that.
I'm like, oh, I want to learn that. Oh, I want to learn that. I actually have to stop myself. I made a pact with my coach, because every coach should have a coach, by the way.
Right.
If you have a coach that doesn't have a coach, run, because they're not coachable. But my coach said to me, "You're not allowed to take any courses in 2023." And I was like, "Look, okay." But they said you have enough certifications, you know enough stuff. Now go do.
But Johnny 5 needs input.
No, but
no, for sure.
it's like my food.
Yeah. Well, what I want to do is now we've nailed that down. That's the common part, or the recurring part. And that all exists, it seems, as a setup to actually get you to where you're going next. So you said you had this dream about 2 weeks ago-ish. Where did your mom drag you off to? Or what was the destination you were headed to after all this?
Yeah, mom doesn't show up, and I end up at this house. It's near a lake. The most recent one, we're near a lake with a bunch of people that I didn't know. Somehow I was in charge. Oh, okay. I think I know what this is.
Oh.
And I somehow I was in charge, and people kept asking me questions, and I was for some reason I was annoyed, which is not usual for me, but some reason I was, and it was like organized chaos, and now I think I know what it is. Okay, that makes sense.
Are you able to describe a little bit about how it relates to your life? Yeah. Like if you made a connection, don't I don't need to go fishing. We'll just talk about it. What
I think what it is, and in 2 weeks ago, it would make sense too. 2 weeks ago, I was working with another person, another human, who I was going to do a retreat with. We've since canceled that retreat. And one of the things I had a problem with is I'm very, at the I's, cross the T's, have everything pre-planned, know what's coming up, so that we can give the best experience to the people that we're serving. And in this retreat, she's more like, okay, we'll just do this and we'll wing it, and I'm not a winger. We don't wing. We move and fluctuate and have flexibility where change sometimes happens, and we move with that when it happens. But we have something pre-planned so that we know what our next steps are if everything's going well. Right. You have to have structure, right?
I think so.
So I was feeling uncomfortable. That's probably my frustration. A little bit of chaos was because as a result of how she was doing it. And I have since that dream have canceled that retreat. And I'm doing it actually with another person. We're going to revive, same retreat, same topics, probably the same attendees, but not the same person, because the other person that I'm doing it with, she is more in alignment with, let's have a plan. Yeah. Let's figure this out. Let's have a backup plan. And then we'll go with the fluidity, because every time we do a retreat, no matter how well you plan, God delivers something else to you that you're like, but had I not had everything else planned, it wouldn't have been easy to contain whatever new came, or whatever surprises came. But knowing to be fluid, and especially with that, because I've done a speaking engagement where I had my whole speech planned, and when I spoke to the people in the room, they wanted something else, and I had to shift my whole speech to something else.
Yeah.
And in order to deliver what I was supposed to them, which is, by the way, terrifying to me, because I'm a planner and I need to practice.
Don't make me go off script.
Wing it. Don't make me go off script. But it worked out really well, because what they were talking about is my sweet spot. And it kind of confirmed that I know my stuff, that I can shift like that. So that was a really nice affirmation that day. It scared the crap out of me, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
But it was a really good affirmation. But perhaps that's what it means.
Yeah, I think the fact that you analyzing or just putting yourself back into looking at it and you had an instant understanding, that is not unusual at all. And I think it's absolutely correct. And we can look at that a little bit deeper and say why. So you're in a house near a lake. There's a bunch of people. Somehow you're in charge. They're asking you questions and you're annoyed by this. And it feels like organized chaos is the phrase that came to mind. And then you started telling me about, okay, I had this experience. why that imagery to help you? Okay, so this is where I was thinking while you were describing it, is you've got this recurring iconic representation for an icon of your mind for your genuine self and your process and what you consider important. And you kind of start there. Okay, remember who you are. Now, with that in mind, analyze this, and does this situation fit for you? So you're looking at this, and specifically the people asking you annoying questions, I think, is sometimes they're other people, sometimes they're meant to be, but I think in this case, they're all you. It's you asking yourself questions you can't answer because there's no structure, if that makes sense. You're like,
well, the questions wouldn't come if the structure was there.
Yeah. They would already know what to do. Like you would have already told them. And now, so you're annoyed that not just that they're asking, because we can be annoyed at our own persistent nagging doubts. And I wish I wasn't doubtful about that, but sometimes we got to listen to them. But in this case, it's more an annoyance of, you shouldn't need to ask. This should already be taken care of. This should be more organized and less chaos. And I should, the question shouldn't be happening. Go ahead.
And I don't think it was an annoyance at them. It was more an annoyance at the situation because it was avoidable. Yes. And I don't like avoidable situations.
Yeah. An annoyance that the questions needed to be asked, not blaming a person or anything. That's why I say it's parts of you, because we have all these different thoughts, and it's very, very interesting framing of this kind of stuff is like our thoughts are not us, but they come from us and they don't come from us. And they represent different perspectives we're considering. We can hold a thought as a possibility and say, okay, I thought that. Some people don't realize that we are not our thoughts, that we can hold them out in front of us and look at them and say, this is something that occurred to me. This is a thought which crossed my mind.
Yes.
And you can hold it or reject it or do nothing with it. Set it down, come back and look at it later. So yeah, definitely. Now, why the framing in this sense of a house near a lake? The fact that there were a bunch of people there that represented many unanswered questions. Any theories on why you would put it in a house by the lake?
Yes, because my retreat is in a house by a lake.
Oh, well, done, ding. Yeah, so you're in the house by the lake, and you don't have the answers you need to get the job done.
Support them. Yeah. Do what I'm supposed to do. That's our job when we do the retreat is to provide the answers to that, so they don't have the answers, so they can have the experience that we've created for them at that retreat. So because of the lack of preparation, my annoyance of the situation, avoidable situation, is coming from the attendees because they don't have the information, because we didn't plan the information, because she wanted to just wing it. And winging is not my thing.
Yeah, definitely. I do like enough. We were talking about this earlier, and I thought of it like thinking outside the box. So like, yes, you want the capacity to think outside the box. There also needs to be a box. Both things must exist at the same time. So you're in it when it makes sense, and you go out of it when you need to. But when there's no box, it's like, where's it's like a target. Like you need the rings to know where you're at. And maybe sometimes you want to be out on that fifth ring. Maybe that's where you want to be, but the ring's got to be there and the center's got to be there to give you something to aim at in general.
Yeah. It's like a goal. Here's my goal, but I can come over here and, do a safari on my way to my goal. That's okay.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we got time. And maybe that's it. This is the time we schedule for the safari. We got 2 hours. Let's go safari. What do you want? We're going to walk in the woods. Where do you want to go? I don't know. This is just woods walking time. We go anywhere. But that's the plan. That's the structure. And then it's over at a certain time. And it's time for dinner. And you go home and then you do something else. That's fantastic.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Do you think, I truly believe that through our day, we're noticing certain things that we connect and notice. We connect the dots and notice it. And there are other things that we're noticing that we're not cognitive of noticing. Do you think some of those things turn into those dreams? Because thinking about this particular dream and how it's seemingly being interpreted, that I was connecting the dots that this is would potentially happen because I do those steps down there. So those things that we're not connecting that moment and recognizing are still coming in. We're still getting input from all different directions.
Absolutely. No, I think that is very true. So in a sense, our brains never forget anything. Our every sensation, experience, thought, it's all in there, programmed in some way. So that's the theory of the subconscious, is that it's everything that everything that we've ever experienced. And then our consciousness is that small part of it we can access at any given moment because we got limited bandwidth. It's too much information. It's like a program's capacity to run my camera. I got to turn everything else off and focus on that. And actually, that seems to have helped. I'm going to try and do that next time I do an interview too. You don't want to know how many browser windows I have open at all times. It's ridiculous, but I do because I have so many things to keep track of.
Because you're a Super Bowl.
Right, a little bit. Yeah. Like you'd also don't want to know how many lists and papers and things I have over here and how many I've lost that have things.
You need me, my friend. You need me.
Probably horrible disorganization.
That on you and get you all yummy. You won't have them all over the place.
Right. Get it all in one place. Working on it.
Book.
So what you're saying, yes, is so.
Have one book.
That
with tab.
That is a good place. Then my biggest problem, well, not to get off on with me, is like, but okay, now what are the categories and what makes sense to put in those categories? That's part of that, like, okay, the actual structure of the organization. Organization is important. Okay, now what's the structure of the organization? That would be maybe a separate conversation.
You can change these tabs anytime you want or add them.
Tabs. That's right. That's a good idea. Yeah.
So you can easily organize it and flip to that tab and be in that mindset at that time. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, just to before I lose this other train of thought about the subconscious and the conscious, yes. limited bandwidth. Speaking of which, I gotta if it goes, I'm never getting the best Swiss cheese brain. So you do see and perceive and take in and retain everything, but we can't see it all at once. So what happens when we're asleep is any unresolved issue, things that we took in, but we haven't been able to categorize. As we were saying, we haven't been able to organize into a folder in our head. Where does this fit? How do I make use of it? I tell people, not just from a give it time perspective, but literally sleep on it. I tell people that because a lot of times if you have a pressing concern or a difficult problem or you're just confused about something, literally in our sleep, those thoughts will come up and we may or may not have a dream experience we can remember, but very often, and it happened to me, I slept on something the other day. I don't remember any dream happening, but I woke up with a more clear understanding of the problem and what I wanted and a path to the solution.
Yes!
That's what dreams are supposed to do for us. I think that's the purpose for the existence of this mental function while we're asleep.
That's why Esther Hicks, if you don't know her, look her up. She's amazing. Esther Hicks says that meditation is really good because it puts us back in a dream state.
Yeah.
And then it stops the momentum of anything negative happening. And you get to, that's why tomorrow's a new day. That's a phrase that's used, is because after we sleep, we start anew and then we can set the momentum for the day. Mm-hmm. And if you start your day with like a gratitude journal, you could set good momentum for the day. But if we're just picture a car at the top of a hill, right? Where is it going to start picking up speed? Where are we going to be able to stop it easily? Right at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So if you're having a really bad day, take a quick nap, go do a meditation, stop the momentum of what's going on to start it again. And the dreams in when I meditate, my best answers come to me. Like you said, you woke up and you were inspired. You knew what it was. Because when we're dreaming, we're also being visited by our angels and our higher source. And by the way, I want to circle back to something.
Sure.
You said Swiss cheese brain.
Yeah.
No.
No.
What you're doing is, in a lot of times, and you may not recognize that you're doing this, but I want to give you clarity on this. You are channeling source, universe, God. You are channeling information that I'm supposed to hear, and or sometimes you are. Sometimes things come out of my mouth and I'm like, that's not my verbal cadence. That's somebody else's. And I sit there and I go and I give it to, let's say, a client of mine. It was real. And I'm like, oh, maybe that was meant for me. Because sometimes it's come out and it's meant for me. So that Swiss change and that Swiss cheese brain and that change of thought, because your brain works super fast, my friend. I can tell by one, the way you talk, and two, the way you change subjects so fluidly. It's because, and why you lose it. Why, if I don't say it, I'm not going to remember it.
My wife's like
if
that
I
too.
don't write it down, I'm not going to remember it. It means you're channeling. That's what will happen. There will be physical indicators that you will learn what they are. For me, I get goosebumps. My whole body flushes. I get little pricklies on the back of my neck. That's when I know it's coming someplace else. And that's usually sources speaking through me.
Yeah.
That might be a little too woo-woo for your listeners, but that's what it is.
Well, I'm on a good I've got a foot on both sides of the yin yang line on that type of thing. I am I could consider myself a credulous skeptic. My bar for proof is extremely high, but I am honestly willing to believe anything. There's unlimited possibility. So here,
pay attention when you get that Swiss cheese feeling and you have to say something, Pay attention when you're writing it down. It's like what you're writing down. Is that generally your cadence? Is that generally words you use? Is it a new thought that you never thought of before? And think of, is there any physical change going on in your body? Are you getting goosebumps? Are you getting the chills? Do you get something on the back of your neck? You will have a physical response. The more you pay attention to it, the more it will become aware. I didn't realize the goosebumps were attached to it. That's my indicator. That's my aura to it.
Yeah, definitely. So just the idea of the both feet on that line is like, I don't deal in, say, prophetic dreams that appear to be a visitation from a deceased relative, dreams that are, potentially psychic images of a disaster from around the world. I don't deal in those because I can't explain them sufficiently to say, yes, this dream specifically was prophetic. I only know afterwards, and that's not, again, hindsight's 2020. So I definitely tend to stick on the physical, psychological, medical, whatever side of things. That said, there are human experiences of like, you open yourself up to something and something flows through you naturally. That's what it feels like. And it just happens. And when it does, it is that magical experience. And okay, so is that literally the Spirit of God working through me to accomplish a beneficent purpose? Sure, that is a true and I think factual way of stating that. Is that necessarily what it is? Can we quantify it scientifically? I don't think I can put a God meter on something and get a reading. That's not going to happen. But that's what it feels like. And it is what it feels like in some ways.
Yes. Yeah, and it feels like it comes from here.
Mm-hmm. So for me, it comes here. Out of here. That's okay. And there you go.
Track. Yes, that's the track. Oh, that's the track. There's also a reason. Do you know why we pray like this? And it's always at the heart center. We're connecting our heart chakra with our crown chakra, which connects to source. So that's why in churches we pray like this.
Gotcha.
That's why the Irish. There's a name for the Irish, but the hands are praying. There's an Irish symbol that it's praying hands. Again, It's connecting the heart chakra with the crown chakra.
Nice.
That's the opening. That's how we communicate with source. So that's why it's always from the heart. So those things, that's what you're feeling. So you're doing what we refer to on earth as channeling. Believe it, don't believe it, it's okay, whatever feels yummy. But if you start paying attention, you're going to see that there's a physicality that, like you said, you feel it from here, it kind of flushes down and it comes out, like explodes out of your chest.
I feel like you remember you remember the Care Bears? The Care Bears stare right out of their belly. Yeah. That's what it feels. That's what it feels like to me. Well, I've even got the little Care Bear symbol on here. This is mine for my. You can buy this through BenjaminTheDreamWizard.com. We got T-shirts for sale.
There you go. I love it. Merch.
Right?
You got merch, dude.
I got merch, coffee mugs, whatnot. So the final thing about your dream that I wanted to make sure I said before we wrap it up is, now you've got an idea of the recurring pattern. Now you saw it before, but now you kind of get an idea of what the pieces mean, leading you up to something. So in a way you can kind of shortcut, and your recurring dreams may now actually change. I've had that happen more than once. The idea that, you may not need that setup anymore. Something truncated may come into it, or the experience will happen on fast forward, and you're like, I'm flying shop, leaving next, because okay, I get it. I don't need to experience that every time to really frame myself in. It may not change also because sometimes that's in essence, it's almost like a mantra, or it could be like a mantra we do when meditating, where it gets you into the state of mind where now you're ready to do the thing.
Yeah.
So it's
it
like
puts
a
you
warm
into
up.
a place of openness.
Yeah, like a warm up. And so the most relevant features for you going forward will be, okay, where does mom drag me off to? What's the next scene? What's the next cut? Where do I jump to? What am I now considering? And in your waking thoughts, you can look back on it and go, now I'm conscious that I am assessing this experience specifically to make sure it aligns with the way I think things need to be done, whether it's true to my genuine self or it's following the path I know is likely to be most successful. So yeah. And that's why these dreams would need to come back for you, because you're always, I would imagine, always starting a new project and trying to figure out, how do I make this work? What does this look like in a successful form? So yeah, just to kind of bookend it for you there. So when you have this experience again tomorrow, in a month, you'll kind of know, okay, I'm here again. Okay, what do I do with this? And yeah, so I
Benjamin,
hope.
totally brilliant. You are a
Oh,
wizard. That's brilliant. That just, walking us down that path is really cool that you can, take that interpretation and come up with that. So that's brilliant. I love the fast forward. I might not need that entrant anymore. I might just go right to the next thing. So that's
yeah.
so cool. So cool. Brilliant.
Or something else will replace it. You might imagine you're back on the podcast with me. It's like this experience replaces that old one. Who knows? I self-aggrandizing there, but it's entirely possible.
I don't know, grandize all the way. It's just
right?
amazing. Yeah, no, and what you do is so good. Thank you so much.
Oh,
You're
thank you very much. You are a fan. I love it. All the encouragement. Don't applaud. Just throw money.
We have merch for that. We got cups and we got T-shirts.
That's what I'm saying.
And we soon have a book. That he's going to put together. For
sure. It is growing in my head and it's going to come out on paper. I know it. It can't help it. I think you're absolutely right on that one. It is in my to-do list and not I'll get around to it someday, but like I kind of have a plan.
It's not my idea.
Even better.
I'm just delivering the news.
I feel you. That's right. Well, why don't we do this? I'll just say this has been our friend, Coach Lorianne. Not going to attempt the last name again. I gave it my best shot. From Long Island, New York. She is a success coach, radio show host of Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. Can't read my own handwriting. Best-selling author. You can get her book, Women Who Dream, where she's got one of the anthology stories in there. Yeah, hold it up again. Wonderful. And I didn't mention this before. They can find you at ldcstrategies.com, also on LinkedIn and Facebook. Links in the description below. And for my part, I'm just going to say, would you kindly like, share, subscribe, tell your friends? We need more volunteer dreamers. 16 currently available works of historical dream literature. The most recent, Dreams and Their Meanings by Horace G. Hutchinson, lovingly edited and reproduced by yours truly. All this and more at benjaminthedreamwizard.com. And also, if you want to just become like a recurring member, support my work, you head over to benjaminthedreamwizard.locals.com. It's where I'm trying to build a community. And that's enough out of me. Lorianne, thank you for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you.
My gosh, Benjamin, thank you. Thank you for the experience. I feel like I was hanging out with my best friend for the last couple hours.
Oh, this should be easy and fun. And I always tell people, you can't do it wrong. All the pressure's on me. I got to try and make suggestions that make sense. So hopefully, yes, you just enjoy it and we hang out and people get to listen to us. And that's ideal.
You make it easy. And I would like to invite you to be on my radio show, Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne.
Oh, wonderful. No, that's a great idea. Let's talk about that for sure. And, but we'll wrap this up here and I'll say, everybody out there in podcast land, thanks for listening.
Thank you.